If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. And you're an asshole.
So, what precipitated that? What caused that? Why was he so angry? This video has been viewed over 1 million times. It's all over the internet. I've seen it on Twitter, and the interesting thing is I've seen it on both posts calling this dude crazed, asking why the cop let that guy walk away, and then I've seen it from other people saying, why did the cop not arrest the protesters? And it's like, this is the perfect example of where we're at right now, of groups of, now the interesting thing is, I'm glad we have the video, and I'm glad we have video of so many things, but even with the video, it's revealing a flaw with us as a society, and with us as human beings, with us as individuals. And then, if we're screwed up as individuals, it's revealing the flaw with us as a society. Because without the video, you would have different people saying different things happened. With the video, we can see what happened, and you still have different people saying different things happened. You still have people looking at that video and seeing what they wanted to see. And it reminds me of the 80s, these 80s sitcoms, how you would have a sitcom start off with somebody like being arrested. It would start off and the main characters are like, whew, we're glad that's over. And then each of the main characters would then go and tell the story of what happened. And each of their stories would be completely different. But in each of their stories, they were the hero. Everything centered around them. And when you get to the end of the episode, and then we find out what actually happened, it's completely different. Like, everybody just saw, they in their own bubble, they saw what they wanted to saw what they wanted to see, and then that's the reality they shaped. But that's where we're at today, where people can look at the same video and different people are just making completely different claims about what actually happened. So I want to, hey, let's take a look at the video and let's actually discuss what's happening in the video together. So we're going to start from the beginning. By the way, first of all, this is at a protest in Plano, Texas. Marvin Scott III was killed died in police custody, and this is a protest regarding that. The details on what happened are very incomplete, and so that's why this protest is happening. That's why these people are there. And when the video starts, the protest is already in progress, and this individual is approaching the intersection.
Get the fuck out of my way!
Okay, so he's clearly upset. He's clearly very angry. So now the guy that he yelled at. So now let's just observe first. He's storming in this direction. There's a guy who is in front of him. The guy is moving backwards as he is approaching aggressively. He's approaching aggressively, point blank period. You can say he's not, but he is approaching, and he's aggressive because of what he's saying and his manner. So at this point, it doesn't appear that he's put his hands on anybody. At this point, it doesn't appear that he's attempted to put his hands on anybody. But he's like, "Get out of my way!" In fact, let's play that. Let's play it over, just because what we're not going to do. We're not going to play this game as if we don't have the footage right here. We're not going to play this game as if, oh, yeah, well, I'm just going to try to remember it offhand. The footage is right here. We're not going to play this game where we don't actually look at the footage as it's happening. Yeah, so let's roll back. Now let's see where you're at.
Get the fuck out of my way!
Okay, yeah. Right. Okay, so now you're screaming at the cop.
I can't be standing in the road!
Okay, so now I want to go back. So number one, he's screaming at the cop. He's screaming at the cop, telling the cop to get them out of the way. Um, he's clearly upset. And I'm like, okay, let's start looking at this from everybody's perspectives, because that's the problem. Nobody wants to stop and think, well, what is this other person going through? And that's bad for everyone, because it's happening more and more, and everybody's stuck in this boat. I just on Facebook the other day, and somebody says, how do you feel about and I wasn't the one to ask the question, but it's interesting. People are noticing the problem with echo chambers. They're like, do you only talk to people? Will you only listen to things from your inside your echo chamber? And people are like, oh, well, other people that like into the conservative group. So yeah, liberals, well, they don't make any sense anyway. So I have no time for them. It is that attitude which gets nothing accomplished, but warfare. But warfare, because now I keep thinking of that Michael Crichton quote about how humans don't think for themselves. They merely repeat what they are told and become upset when told otherwise. And because there's more to that quote. And in that quote, he says, you know, um, other organisms fight over like actual tangible things, and human beings fight over ideas. And that's why, if you're not willing to listen to other people's ideas, or to at least understand where they're coming from, like, warfare is inevitable, because that's how, I mean, and that's going to be I think that's going to be the bane of humanity, if humans can't learn to respect other people's ideas, or at least acknowledge how they have some kind of understanding where other people are coming from with their ideas. Dude is pissed off. Like, I don't know where he has to go. He may be running late for something. He may have an important business meeting. He may have had a horrible day. He may have had a whole bunch of stuff happen somewhere else where he's pissed off. And then he comes and there's this traffic jam. And so he's upset. Now, what about the protesters? Why are they there? Marvin Scott III, this man, mentally ill, suffering from schizophrenia, goes into police custody and winds up dead. They want answers. There's been a lot of incidents of people dying in police custody, people dying at the hands of police, and people are frustrated, people are scared, people are and people say, oh, well, there's other crime too. Yeah, there is other crime. But if the people that are supposed to be stopping, the people that are supposed to be protecting you, are actually killing you, that's going to resonate with you, because it's like, damn, I got nowhere to turn. If the people you're looking to help us are actually causing some pain, it doesn't even have to be the same level as some criminal is. But if this person, like, I came to you for help, and now I have to worry about you as well. That's Understand that. So if you want to say, oh, well, and there's some people who will talk about, oh, well, the numbers of police brutality is a myth. There's only a certain amount of police killings of unarmed, and it's like, wait a minute. Number one, police brutality and police killings are two separate things. Police killings can be a subset of police brutality, but they're not equal. So just because there's a certain number of police killings does not change the fact that police brutality, excessive use of force where people do not die, isn't a thing. Where people's rights are violated, like, that's not a thing. But now we're at a point where you've had a year where everybody is on edge. And if nobody's willing to stop and look at why the other person, other people, the other side, another group, a group that's different from you, is experiencing some kind of frustration, some kind of anger, some kind of rage, some kind of fear, if nobody's willing to stop and do that, then we're fucked. We're fucked. We are fucked if we don't have the ability to stop, think, and look at where other people are coming from. So he's upset. And I would like to know what was happening in his day, why he was so pissed off. Because there's other people, like, look, there's cars all over there. Is one guy, and if we go to the end of the video, you see he's how far back he is. So with all of these cars there, there's one guy that's going off. What happened to him? What is going on in his day, in his life, that has him at this level of just losing it? Like that's why I'm like, let's stop. Let's try to, like, I really want to know. I don't know if we'll ever get that answer. I don't know if anybody, because right now you've got two camps and everybody is set in their way. And the people that hate BLM, they don't care what happened. Is they'll say, oh, it's just because they're protesting, they're illegally blocking the road. And you're not trying to get to the heart of, well, why is he upset? Because this is, if you're a conservative and you agree with this guy and you'd be pissed, but would you think, is he the only conservative that's out there in traffic? Is he? Come on. So why is he? If you should be asking this question, why is he so upset? Like, not why is he upset? Why is he so upset? Because he's enraged right now. The entire way up, he's yelling, he's cursing, and then he gets up in the cop and he's going off on the cop verbally. He's verbally going off on the cop. I'm not trying to say he's attacking the cop. He's verbally going off on the cop, but he is at an elevated level of frustration. He's out. He's going off. He's pissed off. Why? So now let's continue, because now what happens next? Yeah, let's take a look at this. Now, there are people who are trying to pretend, there are people on the right, the conservatives, Republicans, who are trying to act like that did not happen. That happened. This woman is not blocking his path. She's merely recording him. And that pissed him off so much that he smacks the phone out of her hand. Now, listen, you know how we all have cell phones, and we all know what happens if you drop your cell phone. Oh, you got to worry if the phone's broken, and if it gets smacked out of your hand with that level of force, he just committed an offense against property. So it originally looked like he swung at her, and once I was able to look at it slower, I realized, okay, he hit the phone. He hit the phone out of hand. People's like, oh, he intentionally missed her. No, he was aiming at the phone. That's what he hit. He was aiming at the phone, and he hit it, knocked it out of her hand to the ground. That's so, and cell phones can be expensive. So he just damaged her property. That's vandalism. That was uncalled for. Like, once again, he could be pissed. He could be upset. He could have a whole bunch of things going on, but he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have attacked the property. Like, because the same thing people say, you know, rioters could be pissed off, rioters could be upset, but they shouldn't be damaging. Protesters could be upset, but they shouldn't be rioting and damaging people's property. He just damaged her property. So you can't be mad at you can't profess to be mad when protests turn to riots and people's property is damaged, and then look at this and not bat an eye and act like you didn't see him knock the phone out of this woman's hand, who was not doing anything to him. She's just recording. She's stepping out the way. She's not saying a thing to him. Don't act like you didn't see that happen. Okay, so he automatically is ready to square up and fight. Now people are talking to him. Nobody else is putting up their hands. He is putting up his hands as if he's going to fight. People and actually, there is something I missed. And it happened right after he smacked the phone out of her hand. Because so right wing was talking about, oh, they pulled a gun on him, but now, and I missed it. Because if you're not paying very close attention, you'll miss it when it happens. Okay, so now, right there, somebody came with a gun. So, like I said, if you look at this, when he swings, the first time I thought he hit her. I didn't realize he hit her phone. That's why. So, and now this is where we could have some discussion. I believe that's why the guy comes up with the gun, because he thought he just hit the woman. When the guy that's closer realized, okay, he hit the phone, and he starts to reach, but then he stops. The guy that was closer, that was right there, realized that, okay, wait, he just hit her phone, and he's not doing anything further, because it looked like he was about to attack, and so then he stops. Because now let's take another look at this. Okay, so he squares up now because This guy came from behind him. If this guy wanted to do his, if this guy right here wanted to do him harm, so if this guy right here wanted to do him harm, it would have been over. He didn't see. He's so focused yelling. This guy came from behind him, but came from behind him around to talk to him. He's still agitated. So now this is what I'm saying. We have a potential here to diffuse the situation, because that should be the goal of any intelligent person. Should be like, how do we calm the situation down? He doesn't want to be calmed. So now we could get mad. We could say, oh, they shouldn't be protesting. Cool. How do we diffuse the situation? Because he's not doing it. Like he's going off. He's cursing at people. He just knocked the phone out of this woman's hand. Vandalism. These guys are trying to talk to him, and he's just going off. He's just going off. Now he's squaring up, putting his balling his fist up. Like, okay, so now who is not being amenable to reason and discussion? But y'all will say, oh, well, they're liberals. You'll say, oh, they're leftists. They're BLM. They're Antifa. They don't matter. You know, they're stupid anyway. They don't make sense, and nothing gets accomplished. Because they get when Trump supporters are pissed off, when conservatives are pissed off about something, people can do the same thing, and then nothing gets accomplished. Nobody's talking to each other. People are just yelling at each other, screaming at each other, and that's not where it stops. So now the cop comes back over. Okay, so now you missed something. See? Now the guy in the red walks up to him. Once again, he's talking. His hands are at his sides, and this guy pushes him back. Not incredibly forcefully, but he does push him back.
Thank you.
And now here we get to the asshole. He's talking to him. Like this was an opportunity to discuss things. This was an opportunity where he could say, "Listen, I got someplace to be." He could have had it. Like, I don't know what was going on, but this is an opportunity. Even after certain escalations, this was an opportunity to try to see, for people to try to meet somewhere, so that because my brother told me a story, and when he told me the story, I was pissed for him, and it took me some time to realize, yeah, he's right. About an incident where he was doing he had a business, and the customer, that a client he was working with, just starts going off and is yelling at him. He's cursing, and my brother says, I just stood there and I just smiled at him. I didn't curse back. I didn't put my hands on him. I just smiled. And eventually the guy just like ran out of steam and stormed off. And like, I'm like, and I was coming from a mentality that wasn't very positive. And had I been in that situation, things end differently. My brother handled it in a way where, and he explains to me, I'm not going to give somebody else control over me. I'm not going to give somebody the control over me, to the ability to control my emotions and ruin my day. Because when you get so angry, when your anger reaches a point where you've lost it, you see red. Like, it just doesn't subside. Number one, that has an effect on your body. That has an effect on the rest of your day, at the very least. And it could have a much worse effect, because things could escalate. So like he said, he doesn't know what the dude had. He doesn't know if he puts his hands on the dude, if he winds up hurting dude, or if he responds in kind and things escalate and dude does something to him, like something, not failing to attempting to discuss and be rational, be reasonable, be calm, measured human beings. We see it so many times. Things escalate, somebody gets hurt, somebody gets killed, and over something that could have been discussed, something that could have been where conversation could have been had, discussion could have been had, and understanding could have been reached. Even if everything's not solved, some understanding goes a long way in calming things down, in creating a situation where this guy's day is still screwed, because he's still where if he's mad, if he has to be someplace, his day is still screwed up. And now you've got this footage. He's knocked this woman's phone out of her hand. We don't know if her phone is damaged or not. We don't know this. He's pushed somebody, so potentially somebody can say, "Oh, he assaulted me." They could. I don't know that they have, but there have been calls in media saying, "Oh, why wasn't he arrested?" See, there's calls from the right saying, "Oh, why weren't they arrested? They're blocking traffic." And nobody's trying to gain any understanding of people other than themselves. Nothing gets solved. Nothing gets solved. And so I want to finish off the video with what these young ladies are doing. And I appreciate whoever the people in charge of this. And these young ladies were just trying to get his license plate because, hey, yes, he knocked this woman's phone out of her hand. He committed an offense against her property. But also, just take a look at how far back he has to go, get to his vehicle, and look at the fact that you still have traffic moving in other directions. But I mean, I've seen protests where things go much differently. I've seen protests where things go much differently and things are not handled as well as they were handled by the protesters on this side. In other words, I saw several attempts from the protesters and from basically the protest marshals to calm things down, to attempt to de-escalate. This gentleman at this point was not open to discussion. Unfortunately, he did get physical, some physical against property and mildly physical against individuals, but fortunately, it didn't escalate beyond that. It could have escalated further. Fortunately, it didn't. But like, people, like, this is not good. If you can't stop and see that somebody else could be feeling like, and I'm trying. I'm just one voice. And nobody seems to hear me. Nobody, like, and I'm not gonna say nobody. It seems a lot of people don't. A lot of people, the majority, don't want to hear me. You've got your people that will just tell people what they want to hear, and they get millions of subscribers because, hey, everybody wants to have their ears tickled. Yeah, just tell me what I want to hear. Oh, yes. Tell me I'm right. Tell me I don't have to change anything. I don't have to do anything. All of the problems are from the other guys. Everybody else. I'm perfect. I'm perfect. Everybody else is the problem. Hey, if that's what people want, I'm just letting people know it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well for any of us. We're living on this planet together. We're living in this country together. We're living in these cities, these states, we're working together. We're shopping amongst each other. We're interacting on roadways and public transportation. Like, people, we've got to have more sense. I mean, and these are how adults are acting, and then we see kids acting out and act like they're like something's wrong with them, when reality, they're just mirroring what they've seen from us. I don't know. I keep trying. I will keep trying, and I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people out there that are also trying. And I urge you to keep trying. It's amazing that, perfect example. And I was in the supermarket the other day, and there's a older gentleman who's like standing, looking at the counter, looking in the frozen section. He's looking at products, and he's kind of like not completely in the middle, but not. And so there's some products behind him. So Like nobody can get through. So another gentleman comes back and says, "Oh, excuse me," and so the guy moves forward, and then the guy gets past him, and the guy that had to move turns around. So it's like, where am I supposed to go? And the other guy turns, looks at him, and goes, just puts his hands up. It doesn't end there. Here's why it doesn't end there. Because after he does that, after the gentleman puts his hands up, the other guy looks, turns around, looks down. The guy that just put his hands up walks on. The guy that yelled, he walks a little bit further down, and somebody's coming towards him, and now he steps aside. And it's like, oh, excuse me, sorry, my mistake. And apologizes. Like his entire demeanor was different from the moment the other guy just, sorry. The moment the other guy just diffused, like his any anger he had, just like, and then at that point he was able to self-reflect and like, I didn't handle that well. But it affected how he handled other interactions. Because now his other interactions were much more peaceful, much more, oh, here, let me get out your way. I'm sorry. Like, it's amazing. That's what we can do for each other. I know there are times when we're dealing with stuff, we could be angry, but the times when we're not, the times when we're aware, and we can make it so that we're more times than not, we're being kind, considerate of others, and we can have a ripple effect on other people. Or we can say something, a kind word to somebody, an apology. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Boom. And it can change the trajectory of their day. It's a ripple effect. And there's people out there who are sending the ripple effect in the wrong direction. So those of us that want to see a better world, let's start sending the ripple effect in the right direction. Thank you for checking out this episode. As always, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are interested in seeing a better world, and if you want to see people communicate and deal with each other with some kind of compassion and some, like, just humanity, and recognize each other's humanity. Subscribe to the channel, because that's what I'm about. I'm about trying to see some common ground between people who don't necessarily have common beliefs. So like, share, subscribe. And if you disagree with me, if you say, hey, if you don't believe what I believe, you're an idiot. I don't care if you die today, tomorrow, whatever. I hate you, and I hate you, me. If you hate me, okay, give me a thumbs down. But don't just give me a thumbs down and run away. If you hate me because I'm trying to promote positivity, if you hate me for that reason, give me a thumbs down. But write in the comment section why you hate me, and I'll address it either in the comment section or in a future video. I'll see you next time.